Lately, I've been thinking about that classic Kenny Rogers song, The Gambler. The one that says, you gotta know when to hold 'em, know when to fold 'em, know when to walk away, and know when to run. Farming can be many different things. It can be exciting, rewarding, and fulfilling, but it can also get quite difficult sometimes. We can face serious challenges, leaving us having to make hard choices. A vegetable farmer like ourselves will invest into a crop, put in the time, the resources, the energy, everything, and then it has serious challenges. We then have to decide whether or not we're going to continue working to get through those issues and come out on the other side back to better or full productivity, or whether we just give up and move on to the next crop. This video is all about how our crop of red and yellow peppers in this shade house was attacked by tiny little insects that are about 1 millimeter long and can barely be seen with the human eye. They're called thrips, and they can cause great damage to crops by sucking out plant cells or even spreading viruses. We're going to start by looking back at the history of the crop, everything we did to establish it up to the point where the problems with the thrip started. Then we're going to be honest and talk about some of the things that we should have been doing or doing better, doing more of, in order to avoid the problems with the thrips in the first place, or at least reduce the severity. Then we take a look at what we did about the thrips infestation. And finally, at the end of the video, we take a look around the shade house and look at how the crop is doing. We have to decide if we've been able to save it, to restore it back to levels of commercial productivity, or is it just too late and we should forget about this crop and move on? Stay with us. Greetings from the farm. I hope you're well. It's so good to have you back with us again here on the Mondo Farms channel. My name is Chisha Folatia. Time for another epic crop story. Today I'm at Kimberley, and this is a part of the farm that we call Sangwani. And this is where we have our 2 shade houses, which we invested in last year to be able to grow high-value crops like sweet peppers in a controlled environment. This crop of red and yellow peppers was transplanted in late October. We've been growing sweet pepper for a few years now, so we have systems and practices in place, and our team has the capacity to know what needs to be done. We were able to establish the crop and get it off to a great start through our usual good agronomic practices, including feeding it the right thing at the right time, watering it at appropriate intervals and intensities, regular weeding to prevent competition from unwanted plants, and applying a range of agrochems at different intervals and intensities to protect it from pests and from diseases. We also did things like trellising to hold up the plants and make it easier to look after them, and of course to harvest. And pruning the suckers and side shoots in order to guide and control the plant's growth towards healthy fruit sets for a long period. We've covered these actions before in previous videos on our channel that you can watch later. By the way, during the rainy season, we found ourselves having to put in a lot of work and a lot of money to set up drainage systems in both of the shade houses here at Sangwani, because we had a lot of surface water runoff coming into the shade houses from up the hill. Too much water can be a problem for plants because the roots basically get drowned. They can't breathe. Everything worked out well, and by mid-February, we had started to harvest, and I remember getting a very upbeat video from Tyson as the team were here getting the first fruits, then Chwala.
Finally, today is a big day where we make our first harvest of the crop. So, Martha, wapitirira inangu hapa. Hii hapa. Hii mazonisha chinjiratu. We're now making our first harvest inside the shade house. So there's this one here. Now you want to say video which was said. So first harvests are always good and beautiful because we're looking at the first fruits that we are harvesting, and we love the size and quality of our peppers. They're very, very good and big. Muchibemba tumemba sana tunasekera natemwa ifiwa mwansa nasekera natemwa. Thank you. Mkwai. Sure. At least tuwafumyamo. Fine. It's always a beautiful day and very important for us as farmers who are doing farming as a business.
We continued harvesting for the next few weeks. But as we entered March, we noticed that the yields that we were now harvesting had dropped significantly. Our company, Mondo Farms Limited, is operating a full-time vegetable farming business. Throughout the year, we need to have crops in the ground that are bringing in yields, which means income. So when we have a significant drop in one of our harvests, what we're getting, it means a challenge to our cash flow. And we take that as a red flag and we take it very seriously. The next day, our operations manager, Tyson, came into the shade house with the leadership team here at Kimberley, and they looked around to see what could be the problem. They started by looking at various things that could have led to the challenge of the drop in yield before finally identifying the problem, finding the culprits, so to speak.
We're here doing our scouting and looking at our pepper, where we've had, first of all, reduced yields for this week, and looking at how the crop is doing. So what we're checking here is the first thing that's very, very important is nutritional deficiency. Then the second is we're looking at two parts of crop protection. There's fungal infections, bacterial infections, and also pest infestation. So from what we see from the leaves, we are looking very good, first of all, in terms of our nutrition. No signs of major deficiencies. Then the nutrition, we are doing okay. Then on the part of crop protection, we now look for fungal diseases or bacterial diseases during this time of the year, which is very high. So looking at this, signs of leaf spot. Leaf spot mostly the bacterial leaf spot, which not so much, and some signs of copper and iron deficiencies. Then The major one here is Pest, which we are seeing to be thrips. The cracking that we are seeing here on this fruit, this is thrips. And also looking at the curling of the leaves up on top, this is a sign of thrips. Or this looks like it was scorched, sun-scoured, but no, this is damage caused by thrips sucking off the sap from the plant. Even the top part says it all, to say we have the presence of thrips in here. If we go down to the western side where we have the yellow pepper, even the fruit size and quality tells a story of thrips. This is a damage of thrips. So with me here is Joseph and Ruben, where we're going to discuss measures of which to prevent this infestation, because also it compromises on the flowers that come out and the fruit quality, which may cause severe damages in production the next coming weeks. This doesn't look healthy. I'm seeing a major problem behind us here. So Sangwani 1 can harbor those pests, but it's a major cross from Sangwani 1 to here. It's a big one. It's like in Komboka Mujumpa. Mayonate. And they have to have a medium yapita somewhere. Mayonate. So we are providing that medium through this. I am a weed zetasium value. So these ones need to be slashed because they leap from one stage to the other. Stumbululuka maningi kajumpa from hapa kaenda hapa. So it's like we are providing a staircase to Sangwani 2. So there are these weeds here on the western side, Duku. Then if you look at Uku, example, mayone grasshopper, kutiba efike hapa. There's this grass here. If this grass wasn't there, this grasshopper wasn't going to get here. These butterflies, because they are following the beautiful color that's here. So there is weeds here in shadehouse, which we need to eliminate. So we are looking at them all being a medium from Sangwani 1 and all over the surrounding and also kunonje kuli maningi affected compared to the other side on the eastern side. So it's muchly affected compared to that side because kuno manje kwankalate ndiye kuli environment ya mushe, so ino yakuna yankala affected more than iyao. My own. Because if we spray once, twice, we should see a major change. Okay? We should see a major change. By the time we get into the second week, we should see that. Line yaku first kuno northern side, really affected maning. But when you go deep into the reds, they are more leafy and a vegetative cover compared to Uku.
When we had our evening briefing at the end of the day, Tyson told me about the thrips problem that they had identified. And I came over the following day and to see the problem for myself. It was quite sobering.
So in here, like we showed yesterday in the video, the challenge is what we are seeing evidently here by the damage of the thrips.
Yeah. What's amazing about thrips is you hear about it so much.
Yeah.
And then it's such a, because it's invisible and small to see.
Very much.
Until it damages you, then you know that, yeah, thrips is more dangerous than aphids, than...
More than red spider mites.
Ni mukali, but ni kangono kachikamba.
The two that I've seen cause massive damage, there are those with what they call the begonia mites and the thrips.
Okay.
The begonia mites, they go for the growing points.
Yeah.
They're very small, very hard to see with naked eyes. They eat off the growing points. And the thrips, but it's how fast the thrips multiply.
Mm-hmm.
So that in the onions at Winterthorn, then here too, because we're looking at for the damage to be seen like this.
They've enjoyed.
They've enjoyed and they've multiplied rapidly.
Okay, let's talk about the recovery plan for here.
Yeah. So the recovery plan starts first with two things. There's first crop protection and most importantly the nutrition. We need to keep it as healthy as possible.
Let's also talk about offloading, because these damaged fruits they're not doing anything. Thrips are minute, slender insects with fringed wings and a unique asymmetrical mouthparts. Thrips can be yellow, black, or brown and are about 1 millimeter long or less. They're even smaller than aphids. Thrips are part of the order Thysanoptera, and entomologists have described approximately 7,700 species of them. Many thrips are pests of commercial crops due to the damage they cause by feeding on developing flowers or vegetables, causing discoloration, deformities, and reduced marketability of the crop. We normally know that thrips are there by seeing the signs of the damage they're causing. They typically feed on the underside of leaves following along leaf veins. Damage appears on the upper side of leaves as silvery white specks or small lines. Plants can become stunted, leaves crinkle and drop. Some thrips serve as vectors for plant diseases such as topsoviruses and cause plant diseases such as tomato spotted wilt, impatiens necrotic spot, and iris yellow spot virus. Collectively, these viruses can infect a wide range of vegetables, including lettuce, tomato, potatoes, peppers, and garlic. These enveloped viruses are considered among some of the most damaging of the emerging plant pathogens around the world, with those vector species having an outsized impact on human agriculture. For example, the western flower thrips, whose Latin name is Franklinialia occidentalis, has spread until it now has a worldwide distribution, and it's the primary vector of plant diseases caused by topsoviruses. Getting rid of thrips is not easy. They lay their eggs in the leaves of our plants, so even after you spray or physically remove all visible adults or larvae, there's still a generation of eggs waiting to hatch. Adult thrips can fly, which might explain why they're spreading between plants, or they're just hitching a ride on you, your tools, your clothes, etc. Later in this video, you're going to see our team working hard to combat the thrips infestation, working to get this crop back to a healthy and productive stage so that we can start harvesting and making money again. But before that, let's talk about some of the things that we had done and had not done that led to the problem reaching the stage that it had. Time for some frank talk. The previous crop of red and yellow peppers that we had grown in our first shade house, Sangwani 1, had been an amazing success. One of the best crops Mondo Farms has ever grown since we started farming in 2020. We were able to harvest from it quality sweet peppers for months and months and months and months and months. It was healthy. There were no major challenges. And that kind of gave us a false sense of confidence. As we started this second crop of red and yellow peppers here in Sangwani 2, we kind of forgot that in farming, challenges are always around the corner and that tomorrow may not look so bright. When it came to pest management and monitoring, we had certainly dropped our level of intensity. We were simply not doing enough in terms of overall crop protection. We were doing some of our usual pest management actions and things that we normally do. But maybe I could describe them as being at Europa League level. and not at the Champions League level that, some of us have actually become accustomed to. For example, we were spraying with a range of insecticides, but this was more general and preventative rather than specific and targeted. We hadn't taken care of the habitat. The grass and the vegetation around the shade houses had been allowed to grow to the stage where it provided an ideal home for the pest, insects, little things to hide. And then when they were able to come into the shade house, there they found a lot of food, all in nice lines. So they thrived and they went forth and certainly multiplied. And we hadn't put up the sticky traps that help us to monitor the levels and intensity of insect pest infestation, like we had done with our previous crop in Sangwani 1. Yeah, look, there were a lot of things that we really could have done better, and we will certainly have learned our lesson in this particular case. There's a lot of things that farmers can now do to protect their crops, and these now go beyond the traditional agrochems. Recently, we've been introduced to some of the biological control methods that are now locally available here in Zambia from companies like Coppet. Things like little predatory mites and predatory insects and other amazing and quite relatively affordable things that overall improve plant health and lead to better outcomes. This is the stage of the video where I say to Naya at Coppet, yeah, we shall be calling you soon. Let's see what we can do here together. Growing vegetables at the level and the scope that Mondo Farms Limited operates at will always require a lot of human interaction. So people are key. Our company has got an organogram basically split into 3 levels. At the one level are the operatives, the farm workers and tradesmen that we have. The next level involves the leadership team, and at the top of the pyramid, holding it all together, is myself as the owner and managing director. And we have had some manpower challenges within our company, especially on the one hand, as we have been growing rapidly. This is a common problem with enterprises, is that you grow, but you need to be able to keep your staff complements and your manpower levels at an appropriate level. We've also had some turnover, shall we say, in terms of our operatives on the ground, and we haven't always been able to have enough farm workers on the ground every single day doing what they need to be doing. I said that the farms have been growing. We have recently gone into some major projects and our leadership team has been stretched. Major projects included things like the return to Westgate. We've started vegetable farming there at Westgate, again, as you've seen on our other recent videos. We've also had some major infrastructure projects that have been going on in terms of upgrading our power systems and our water pumping systems and other things. We've also had a major project this rainy season of trying to revive and re-energize our tree growing projects at Winterthorn. We'll be showing you some videos about that one in a couple of weeks or months' time. But at the end of the day, this is my company. I visualized this thing, I established it, and I set it up. So as the owner and managing director, I have to take full responsibility for anything and everything that goes wrong. It is part of the leadership that I've learned for over 30 years of running businesses. The businesses that I do run in Lusaka have had some growth of their own, and the beginning of this year has been, shall we say, quite intense. It usually is, but this particular year, with more growth that we've been having, it has been quite a challenge. So I haven't been able to pay as much time and attention to operations at both farms as I would have normally maybe 2023 or 2024. This is a common problem with enterprises that are run off-site, outside of town, by people who live in big cities. And you have to find the time, the energy, and opportunity to keep coming out here, put your boots on the ground, and keep seeing what is going on. A couple of weeks ago, my daughter CJ was home for the holidays, and she asked me, are you going to the farm? And I said, no, I'm not going there as much as you think. She goes, yeah, I noticed. My children tend to give me, shall we say, directions from time to time. And it's one of the things that I may have given an appropriate parental answer, but it did get me thinking that if my child has noticed that I'm not at the farms as much as I used to be, then it's something that I need to look into. So we're going to have to dig deep and keep coming up to the farms, keep putting as much time and attention and finding the energy to just be around, either virtually on the phone more, as well as physically in presence. At least I need to try and see if I can go back to once or twice a week like I used to be able to do. So the challenges we have with the middle management leadership on the ground is something that we have made a very high priority, and we are currently actively recruiting to bring in more people that will help to strengthen our capacity at this level. I'm very pleased that we have a very strong and capable human resource team, including a very capable young lady called Kumbukani that is working behind the scenes to get this sorted out, and we are looking at different tactics and strategies to see how we can best get this done over the medium to long term. So now, let's take a look at how our team responded from the time of the thrips infestation. Some of the things that we've been doing in order to get our crop back to a healthy state, get us back to production, get us back to making some money again. They did a lot of different things, and I must commend the team for putting in quite a lot of hard work.
Sangwani 2 kwenye displaying a mindset side chemical as a tema breed. Sangwani 2 then spraying my insecticide chemical sonehazam.
So we're inside here, the Sangwani 2 shade house, where we have our sweet pepper crops. That's the red and yellow pepper. So 2 weeks ago, we came in here and we spotted a problem that came in very strong, which is a problem of thrips. As you can see, some of the fruits that were affected are still showing, and the problem was very bad. And we reached a point where we were almost going to lose our crop. But we put in some measures to make sure that we resuscitate our crop so that it regains its strength and proper health so that we can continue with it. So far, so good with the remedial measures that we've put in place. We are seeing growth, a new flash of growth, fruits coming up very well and strong, and that's what we want to see. Other fruits that were not damaged are still looking good, and the general health of the crop, we can safely say we're still in the recovery stage. Not fully crossed the Red Sea yet, but then we're still on course. Gentlemen, yellow pepper kuyoneka mushi very much. Patisa tashani panchito yemasebenza. Yaoneka mushi yellow pepper compared to how it was 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago is a bad. Even na marriage yonse zoneka bad. Okay? So let's continue the management practices that we've been put in place. Shukuru. Chetesta kamba po manzi. Number 1. Number 2, feeding. Number 3, protection. Ngatukudia mushe. Suza funga kuma mankwala. But ngati sukudia mushe, mankwala ozambo ya matap. So, crop issue ya ma thrips ndiye is a main problem. Tigariboya stay eliminate ya kalimo, but at least we've tried. Okay? So if you look at these new shoots and growing points, they are still showing signs of thrips. Nje kufonfoka na kwa leaves matepa. Meaning, mulima thrips wa feben. Every time you see this sign, these are thrips. Ndiye shita cause damage. So, stumaoneka kukaona na menzo. But time tumaoneka. But tukula ngizani ma results ya damage yetu panga. Apa manje shituakuza ni tukoso molo tukamba nene nilimo. So stinga zishita ignore ma signs. Okay? Then point inangu manje tirangana pa matepo mwe li discoloration ya matepo. Mukungena kuyangena ma thrips yangena na matenda. Ma fungal diseases. So muchizungu timakamba tima vectors. Ma vectors meaning chechinyamula matenda. Chechinyamula matenda. So tuatudo tumanyamula matenda. Kakachoko kumwa juice kuli plant iti na matenda. Kakambululukira muno kakabwera oko. Sukuti nishikankara kalibe. Kalinayo pokudiai kafaka. Kozi kama nyonka, skapsheta kanyonka. Mukunyonka matenda yashitabanji yaenda. So mkalangana ma leaves ukukuma yellow koneka tuma leaf spots. Ma yellow leaf spots utu. Matuana ka? So the 2 ways we can alleviate this is by spraying fungicides that help to deal with yellow spots. So tikambati mankwala yama thrips tifaka. While we are reducing the population of thrips, we are also preventing against the spread of fungal diseases. So the fungal diseases we are preventing against mostly are bacterial spots, yellow spots. Nanda kulija kusuminija ena bwera. Then kulinaija hexaconazo yava yeti matenga kuosho. Yali good kulive. ma copper hydroxide bonse otherwise yapupuluka mbeo cause the fruit is eco by the time we spotted the problem, but it looks good and healthy. But we still have more work tufunga tikazipitamu. So I trellising ni kubwera kuipitamo futi mayona ya bwera ya gwira because mwetu nyongera manzi mu mtengo chinkala chokosa because manzi yashitabwanja chokala. So my tent to imagine mbeo ilibe manzi tuja tunyonga manzi izasala na chani. So muno namweve tunko chafuliramo maningi mvula peyasira kubopitamo chafuliramo swati manzi yazingena olopeti jesera kumiju nishitishita banji tipa sampamvu ikankana na mpamvu izakwa nisashita withstand ma pressure yonsa nishina kumwamba konse tishita banji tidiringa na kwefe. So we need to be very heavy mweta pitiliza kuspray ma thrips ma flyer mwa bwera musho maningi enangu ma fruits munga yoneka hapa yoneka very healthy maningi mayona paja wapili petezo yamba kutosa mbeo ma fruits veze vikulu blocky but hapa ma thrips damage yacha kafonfonkana kankara kangono maningi mwakawanaka kangono kolimba maona mukakasegula mkati oneka mshemushe but nshi damage tu tuenda ukusoni kudya uko so tuenda tuinyonka fruit ya menei kaluma manje oneka mungati na mamba wati munga ndiye mwiriri but sindiye mwiriri kachoka sichoka so but tudonde tupelenge satinkale so ai vet funo shita achieve ni ma fruits yonse kunkala so mungai mayona te kunkala mungai. And the only way we can achieve this is by doing proper trellising, number one, fruit balancing, good crop feeding, and crop protection, and irrigation. Manzi safungo shota. So aya mkarangana mpolimba hapa. So pamamba hapa funga tapitamo motekanyira tashitamo tachafuliramo ai then munga ya Fabiani chikapita chizia chosa because yalibe umoyo haya yalibe na market mwanvera te so that iyebera pamamba ngati tuli ukutudoyo tusachoke tokambata ichinjolimba twende pali mayona jeje by the time kakabofu kapa size atikaoneka kukula nshinako kaonongeka kankara munga kukewa gwira ai so let's maintain and let's do a proper job in here.
So namweve mahero pepasi tafunga tupitemo tuchosemo vimahali kusivi pene vioneka vononge katika zisia mahali vya yaoneka choka ya moshe tilipa sangwani tu pene ti spraying ama insecticide chemical abamectin
And today being the 26th of March, we're looking at our crop being exactly 26 weeks. And Recovery for this crop after we had serious challenges with pests, thrips, we're seeing a very, very big improvement that will improve our yield in the coming weeks. So the fruits coming up look very vigorous, big, green, and they'll change into color, being red and yellow. So the health, very important. Looking at the old leaves shrinkling, an attack by thrips. This is how the leaves look like, very hard and unhealthy. But we're looking at the coming up leaves being very free with no attack on top and very healthy. We're also seeing flowers come up, which is what we've been trying to achieve for the last couple of weeks. And also the fruits coming up are looking very, very good. If we look around in the entire shade house, we're looking at a very, very massive improvement from where we came from a few weeks ago. Dear fruit quality, very big improvement. Na my yellows na eve, here's a bad na eve, very good. Has to improve. Then school trust not. Dawa na matepa. Here's attack to my thrips. So yaonika unhealthy yo form fokana, but kalangana growth ili kumwamba huko. Yoneka musha maningi. Especially yali ku bottom. Yokwati siapanga vakutia mshemushe yanyamula che matenda yazambo peleka kumamba soya as usual mwema bwele ngamtosa masaka zina masaka kwa dobamo then nesia yali kumamba yabwele che mshemushe.
So tislashing kuchoka mu shadehouse umu about 10 meters. So after slashing tizapita monaisho leking akuti vinkale kutali about 10 meters above.
So how are we here now? Thrips City.
Still struggling. Still struggling, especially on the part where the harvest, the most important part. The health of the plant slowly recovering, and at least like shared in the other update, this looks better than what we had before the leaves that were below. And we didn't have much fruit load like we have right now, where the fruits even look beautiful.
So start with disease. At least here we are choker. Yeah, see the monga wild. That was March, because we lost all of April.
Yeah, April we didn't have anything. So disease-wise, not a lot of fungal diseases in
Not
here.
even disease, sorry, infestation of the thrips. So where I'm seeing these curled leaves, is that a new one or they're old?
These are old. So the new ones are these ones here up on top.
Okay.
So I don't say I end up in the new.
Spraying is him? Una spraying a chan last mono.
Una so apale to spray wema fang food.
Then
Ma insecticide that's permitting then permitters.
Yeah, they met them per Tuesday. Yeah, on a video. After the harvest.
yes.
Okay.
That has helped improve in terms of armor thrips.
The two that I've just bought, this is now belt.
They will help as well.
As an alternative.
Yeah,
They also
alternative.
work with this.
Very much.
There. Thrips. It's every pest, you start to respect it at a certain point. And you just know that, okay, that's what they're talking about.
But I don't know, they've been worse this year. Starting last year into this year.
Think
not
of the last
only
time
ones.
you had malaria.
Yeah.
Listen, the other time you had malaria. It's just how it is, and you're in it.
But
6 months from now.
by looking at the many phone calls I'm getting, we're not the only ones.
Okay, so you mean industry-wide?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because there was one in one of the groups that again posted showing these leaves in the chilies. Then they told him saying, thrips and mites.
Yeah.
Then malume wake Pethias. Kani mpepo matepo yangu fumfukanya 4 hectares ya green pepper ya mdala. I was like, hectares? Then then I told him saying this, and he says the whole 4 hectares is infested.
So kwa outside kuli guys wene wapitiza na programu ya slashing. So slashing na ku side huku kumense kama shadehouse.
The efforts of the team have certainly, shall we say, borne fruit. We've got quite a heavy fruit load with lots and lots and lots of big blocky fruits that are now turning. As you know with colored peppers is that they start out green and then over a period of time when they're ripe, they turn into red, yellow, orange or whatever. So we see some of them turning like this one. But the challenge is that there's still a heavy thrips infestation in this particular plant here. We can see it on the leaves, which are curled, which is the telltale sign of thrips infestation. And we can also see it on the actual fruit itself with these little streaks and marks. This kind of thing is very, very difficult to sell at a market. And I'm going to do what we farmers do at our level and size and scope and say, this thing cannot be sold now or in the future. So we cut it off. We take it away and we throw this away because we can't sell this as a premium red pepper that Mondo Farms is known for selling. Overall, we've seen that the reds are doing better than the yellows. The yellows had quite a lot of challenges, and you often get this when you're growing different types of varieties of peppers, reds and yellows especially. We see a lot of turning. This is great, literally great. But what we really have to do is make a decision on what we can harvest tomorrow. Being a Monday, it's one of our harvest days. What can we get out of this? How's the quality of this fruit? What kind of pricing are we going to get from our off-takers for this fruit? It's a good one, at least. Iliko nkasa yako. And here we get to the real crux of the matter. Here we have some lines which have still got some good yellow peppers on them. But on this side, we see 4 lines that have been removed. The plants that were on this particular section were particularly hard hit. And we made a decision the other day to say, let's take these out so that we stop trying to save them. They're saving the water, the resources, and the manpower and everything. So we've already started the dismantling process of this particular one. Hey, spiderweb. Now, this really gives us an idea of where we're going with this. The final decision that I made yesterday was that we're going to abandon this crop as it is. The extent of the damage is just too much. The thrips are still there and they're affecting even the fruit quality and the health of the plants that we have. So this decision, I know some of you might disagree with me on the comments, is that we're going to harvest out what we can from the fruits that are already set in the shade house. And then as soon as we can, we're going to start taking them off. Yeah, feels sad. We lost a lot of opportunity for some earning on this particular crop, and we really wish things had turned out differently. We've learned our lessons. My farming friends and I like to call this phase of the farming journey school fees. You are literally paying for the losses that have been made here. Thrips is a particularly ruthless and devastating insect pest, and we have heard people talk about it. But now here at Mondo Farms, here at Kimberley, we have seen it for ourselves, and we've seen the impact of it. When things like this happen to us growers, we have to bear in mind a couple of things. First of all, it is the overall objective of why we set up the business and how we would like it to operate. Bad things will always happen to any enterprise. Even in the biggest growers, you do find these challenges from time to time. Different scope, size, different pests and everything. It could be a tomato farmer being hit by Tuta absoluta. It could be a brassica farmer being hit by the deadly DBM. With high-value solanaceous crops like this, the thrips have certainly taught us a lesson. But we also have to keep in mind what is strengthening us is that we have systems in place to keep moving on and carrying on. We practice a thing called succession growing, succession planting, whatever you want to call it. And what that basically means is that even while a crop is in the field and immediately it starts getting into harvest, you start planning and executing the succession to it. It's a very important practice that full-time farmers have to put in place if they want to keep their income going and to keep up, even I would say, the morale and everything going, because yes, it can be quite devastating. So in Sangwani 1 right now, our beds of lettuce, our crop of lettuce that we had planted there as a rotation, it's ready for harvest. We are going to be clearing it out over the next couple of days. And then we have already ordered the seedlings of the red and yellow that are going to be ready. I think it's in about 5 to 10 days time, and they'll be ready, and we'll be getting on with fixing a little bit of things in the shade house. And then within, I would say, a couple of weeks, we will have the new crop, the successor to that one, already in place. So yes, we're going to have a dip in our income, but hey, we haven't successfully harvested and sold proper levels of red and yellow peppers from this shade house for a couple of months. So this is the stage at which we cut our losses. So this is what it's like farming in the real world. Here on the Mondo Farms channel, we like to share our farming journey, and that often includes the good, the bad, the happy, and the sad. So ostensibly, this was a downer. We haven't had a negative experience like this for quite a while, and we thought it was important for us to put it on the channel out there in order to share. As we say, this is the experience that we had, and hopefully that a lot of people will be able to gain something from what we've been sharing today. We started our farming journey back in 2020, and we started the Mondo Farms channel in February of 2021. So every couple of weeks, every month or so, we post a video on this channel, and it's meant to be able to be out there as a part of our contribution towards global knowledge, and especially towards capacity building in Africa. Farming can be hard, but farming is also one of the most noble professions that people can do out there. The world's population keeps rising. Africa's population is rising. And Zambia, my own mother country, is adding 500,000 new mouths to feed each and every year. So the race is on to improve food production, the quality, the quantity, and the consistency of food production. We've chosen to focus on vegetables here at Mondo Farms. And this is the type of thing that we are quite open about sharing with you. You want to see more of this type of videos? Then press the subscribe button down below. And if you press the bell icon, then YouTube will let you know with a notification when another video comes along. If you're part of a group of people that you would like to see this video, then please press the share button and share it with them on your socials. I hope this video was worthy of your stamp of approval. And if it was, we would really appreciate you pressing the thumbs up button to show the YouTube that this is a video that people like to watch. Lots of comments, I'm sure, are going to come in on this video down below. And there's a lot to unpack and a lot to discuss in this one. Insect pests in general, conventional pest management using agrochems, a lot of things. The potential of the more integrated pest controls using the biological agents. That's something that we'd really like to engage with people on. And also people who have got their own stories about how some of their crops may have also been devastated with thrips. My name is Chisha Fautia. It's been my pleasure being with you on this long crop story. More to come soon on the Mondo Farms channel. Shale nipo. Bye-bye.